tutorial on how to use the Genesis lesson plan. So we're going to start at haddonfieldschools.org. We're going to click on the button on the red line that says staff. Then we're going to go down this menu and find where it says Genesis. Once you're here, you always want to sign in with Google. So we're going to click sign in with Google and select your correct account. And that will bring you to the default page on Genesis. Now there's a couple ways to get to the lesson planner. One is at the top left where it says year and module. You can do that drop down with the module and select lesson planner, or the way I normally get there is, take us back real quick. The way I get there is that top dark blue line where it says next, and then select lesson planner on that top blue dark line. And that'll bring us to our default calendar page. This is kind of like our home base where you can do everything from. So if you notice, there's 5 tabs up at the top underneath the Genesis in the top left-hand corner. It says lesson books, calendar, setup, mapping, and reports. For this tutorial, you do not need to worry about reports or mapping, so that leaves us with 3 of those buttons left. We're gonna start in the calendar button. So that's where we start off. The first thing you want to do each week is make sure that you're on the right week. And the way we do that is where it says Monday, September 7th. We have those double arrows going left and right. If we click one of those, we can go to different weeks or select the picture icon of the calendar to get us exactly where we want to be. Okay, once we're in the correct week, if you notice, I have Intro to Drones here. I'm going to delete that real quick. I'm going to click the delete button, remove lessons. Okay, so you have an empty white box right now. If you click on the create button, we're going to come back and talk about what search means, but we're going to click the create button and we're going to give our lesson a title. It's always a good idea to number the lessons. So I'm going to do number 1, Intro to STEM. Now select unit. By default, it'll say Unit Plan 1, or you can enter a new unit name. I've created different unit books, and I've just used one unit. I actually think it's easier just to have one unit and put all your lessons in there. But I'm going to click Create. You get that option. Now, this is the template for creating the lessons. There's a Save Lesson button at the top middle of the page. You're going to want to click that often. I found that things happen to disappear every now and then. Where it says lesson title, underneath that, it says lesson template, and then it says days. So if your lesson's going to be more than 1 day, you can change it there. And then the next option down says standards. So you're going to click search for standards. You are going to find your standards, click the grade levels that apply, select search standards. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to select the standards that go with your lesson. And then you're going to click Use Checked Standards at the bottom. Once you include those standards, you're going to want to click Save Lesson again. That was something that I realized disappeared, or at least they look like they disappeared, but now next to standards, it says View and Remove Standards to Attached. So you're good. All right, 2 options for doing your lessons. Option 1, fill out the objectives, the procedure, and the assessments. Then click Save, and you are good to go. Option 2 is to not fill out these 3 boxes. If you use a slideshow or a presentation that already has these things in it, you can just upload that presentation, and that will be fine. The important thing is, if you do upload a presentation, you have to make sure that it's accessible to whoever you're submitting it to, or shareable. So you want to make sure that your Google Docs and everything, that you have it marked that anyone with the link or anyone in the Haddonfield ecosystem will be able to open it. At the very bottom, if you want to attach a presentation, it says, bottom left, upload a new document, choose file or upload file. That's where you can find your file and put it right in there. Something that I personally do with my Google Slides or Google Docs is I convert them to a PDF. It's usually easier than making sure that the button's saved, because the PDF is going to be able to be opened. Then constantly save your lesson. the final thing down here is lesson assignments. This, if you'd like to attach an assignment that will automatically go to your grade book, you will type in the name of the assignment, click add, scroll back down, and you're gonna see a due date and assigned. You can change those dates, push to the grade book. Yep, I want it to show up in the grade book. I'm gonna select the category and grade type, and then where it says for parents, I check that off, and display in your grade book, check that off. And then I would click save lesson, and this will automatically appear in my grade book. So after I teach this lesson, I'll be able to give it a grade, and make sure that you're clicking save lesson often, and make sure that you have those shareable links. Okay, so if we go back to the calendar now, we click the calendar button. Now, instead of create, we can click the search button. Now, you're not gonna have any lessons in here yet, but once you start to have lessons, so here are all my courses over time, I'm gonna click a few, and I'm gonna change lesson plans, only active lesson plans, to include deleted lesson plans. And maybe I wanna find one of my lessons that dealt with Python coding. I'm gonna click search lessons, or let's go drone. And I will find lessons that fall under there. I should click all lesson books actually. There we go. Okay, so all my lesson books, because some of these I don't have this semester, so I didn't import the lessons yet. So I can look, these are all my previous lessons that I've created, and I would be able to add them to that specific box using the right-hand column that says add. And let's see, if I want to do intro to drones, I can click add, and it will ask me if I want to add it to all of those STEM courses. Maybe not. Maybe I just want to add it to the one, and click paste lesson. And now it's there. Okay, so this is your main home base. Make sure that you save often. Make sure you can add the gradebook assignment, and make sure that you are sharing all of your presentations. Okay, now under each of these boxes, we have each of your lessons. You have edit, move, delete, copy. Edit, you can go in and change anything about that lesson plan. Move is great if you forgot that you had an assembly that day. If I take my intro to drones lesson and I click move, I can change it to Friday, move lesson. It actually won't let me do that because I see that class every other day, so I would have to move it to the following Monday, which would be the 14th, and I would click move. And now it's going to ask me, do I want to add to the current lesson that's already on Monday, or do I want to swap lessons, or do I want to push everything forward? So that middle option, complete by moving lessons equal or to or greater than for one day, that's usually the option I pick, and it'll shift all your lessons for one day, which is really nice. And the copy and paste, the copy button, we have delete, and then the copy button, that's if a lesson takes longer than expected, you can just click copy. And then on my next open block, I'm going to click paste. And now I have that covering the 2 days. Okay, finally, to post or submit your work. Post and submit mean the same thing. Once you have the lessons here in the calendar, doesn't mean you're finished. You have to submit it. So to submit, option 1 is underneath each of your courses or lessons, there is a button that says post. If you click that, you can check that box and write any notes that you want. However, I have 12 classes right now, so I don't want to do that individually. I want to click the green circle check mark, and I'm going to click that, and it says you will submit 12 of your lesson books for review. Are you sure you'd like to proceed? And then you click OK, and all these things that say post will then say submit it. Okay, the last two things I'm going to show you. Up here at the very top left, again, to the left of calendar, we have something that says lesson books. If you click on that, you have a bunch of these tabs. The only ones I would worry about is the first tab that says browse books. This pretty much, the left-hand column is like your physical binder of everything that you have for each class. Okay, when you click on one of those, so I just clicked on the STEM, the next column is the units inside that binder. So right now I just have my 1 unit plan. But if I go, and then all the way to the right is the lessons within that unit plan. So if I go down to my 8th grade, this is where I was making multiple units. The middle section is all my different units, and then on the right are all my lessons that I can go in and edit and change whatever I want. Okay, the next tab I want to show you is Copy Lessons tab, which is right there. This is really useful for next school year, because if I go back a year and I want to select one of my classes, it tells you how many lessons were in each of those classes. So this class had 47 lessons. I can then paste it to a current class this year, and it will move all of my lessons to the following year. Now, things change, of course, but it's a nice template to have where I can go in and just edit things instead of starting from scratch again. Okay, the last tab at the top left-hand corner, so you have lesson books, then you have calendar, and then you have setup. The only thing, when you click on setup, there's 2 things I want to show you here. The first one is preferences. The only thing that I really mess with in preferences is that first calendar setting that says how many courses would you like to display on your calendar. I like to see all of them on one page, so you don't have to try to find the little arrow that takes you to the next page. So I would just figure out how many courses that you have or how many classes, and then max that out. Make sure you click Save Preferences at the bottom. And then the last thing I want to show you is Lesson Pal Requests. So if you click on Lesson Pal Requests, this is where you can send your lesson plans to another teacher who can view and copy them. They won't be able to change them or delete them, but this allows you to share what you're working on if there's multiple teachers teaching the same content. Now, they will have to share with you for you to see theirs. So just because you're adding their name doesn't mean you get to see their stuff. So you has to go both ways if you want to share each other's work.